Hi, I'm Moriah Fortnum, and this is Unlocking Your Songs.
Hi, I'm Brian Dirksen, and I'm here today with an amazing young songwriter, Moriah Fortnum. Welcome, Moriah.
Hi, thank you so much.
We're here because Moriah's song, Don't Compare Yourself, was chosen from the first cohort of Unlocking Your Songs as a wonderful example of a song that speaks universally, and as an example of somebody who went through taking the course, going through a one-on-one consultation, and there's this beautiful result. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. This is very special.
I've been looking forward to today. I mean, since the moment I heard the demo of this song, I was like, boom, it just hit me.
Okay.
I heard the potential in it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into Unlocking Your Songs.
I started kind of fiddling with the piano and writing songs ever since I was 19 or 20, never seriously, and I never shared it up until 6 months ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
So you're a bit of an introvert when it comes to your musical gifting.
Definitely. Yes. I love people. I love sharing parts of my life, but this was the first time that I ever took the leap to share the music side of my life with anybody.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait till you hear this. You're going to be astounded by that. Okay, so how did you hear about Unlocking Your Songs?
I saw a post on social media with your face.
Oh, okay.
And with you in the guitar and the song or the course Unlocking Your Songs. My first initial thought when I saw it is that looks great. Maybe one day I can do that in the future when the time is right, when the timing is better, and when I'm in a better place in life to focus on that. Yeah, I couldn't forget about it though, and I reached out after the deadline. And
It was like a day, if I remember, it was like a day or two after the deadline, and I was like, oh, sure, come on.
Yeah, I was like bashful and sheepish about it, and I'm like, not to be disrespectful, but I kind of had a first full circle moment when I thought that's probably a really like bad line of thinking, just like in the future when the timing is better, just because I knew that songwriting and music and singing was such like a deep-seated passion. I thought I have to at least try to serve that part of myself, because actually dismissing that would be a disservice in many ways.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you had that kind of pull to sign up for Unlocking Your Songs, because of that, I got to hear this very precious song. What we're going to do now, actually, before we go back and talk about the process of how we got here, I want you to listen to this amazing song, Don't Compare Yourself, and just take it in, and then we're going to show you how we got there. So here it is, Don't Compare Yourself by Moriah Fortnum.
Why do I view my life like a sprint to be won? Oftentimes I'm behind, waiting for the starting gun. I can't keep up the pace, although I've tried. I can't keep up, there's so little time. Don't compare how quickly you are growing. Don't compare yourself speed. Eyes up, see the beautiful purpose of your journey. Don't compare how quickly you are growing. Don't compare yourself. Don't despair how slowly you are moving. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself.
Wasn't that amazing? I tell you, I have listened to this song dozens of times since I got the final mix and master, and almost every single time tears start welling up in my eyes because I think there's so many things I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the universality of the struggle that we all have as human beings. There's something about our need to be social, be part of a tribe, be part of a group of people that causes us to compare ourselves in all kinds of ways.
Yes.
So I know that your song is about some specifics about that, but by singing Don't Compare Yourself as a bookend in the chorus, you've kind of opened the door for all of us to say,
Yes.
we got to sing this over our own soul, like almost every day. Like,
Yeah.
don't compare yourself. So
Yeah.
now let's go back in time. Tell us about the genesis, the beginning of this song.
Over the past 2 years, as I'm sure many people can relate, life changed a lot for me. A few things in my life happened that forced me to have to pump the brakes. And that was very frustrating, a very frustrating season for me. I became extremely burnt out and exhausted by that wrestle. And I specifically remember coming to a point, I was sitting in an automotive shop with my mom, and I was so frustrated because I saw some things I wanted to achieve, and I just could not break the ceiling to get to those. I was very frustrated. And there was a lesson in that season of my life, and it was that for whatever reason, there's a lot of external factors and internal factors that are causing me to look outside of myself and view what I need to get to versus appreciating the here and now of where I was. And I started writing it in the summer of 2022, actually. Yeah.
So it's interesting. So, okay, so you signed up for Unlocking Your Songs and started taking the course, started going through the sessions. You came to some of the group Zoom meetings. And then you thought, okay, I'm ready to take the next step, which is a one-on-one consultation.
Yes.
So you sent in your 2 demos,
Yes.
this song and another song. And this song was at that point called Slower.
Yes. Yes,
That was the first draft title. I don't know how many drafts the song had got to by the point you sent it in to me. And I mean, what did that feel like for the first time for you to send in 2 songs and prep for a consultation? Was that, were you apprehensive about it? Were you excited? How were you doing with that?
Yeah, I mean, to both ends of the spectrum, like it was quite exciting and a nice release to actually get into a room with somebody to like start that process. It's also terrifying. It's anxiety inducing just because I can't hide.
And you had taken it to this point and you thought, now I want to get some feedback on it. I want to get some input because I want to make it as good as it could be.
Yes, yes.
But Yeah,
Both things are true.
yeah, both things are true.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so why don't we take a moment? I know this is a little like, whoa, turning back the clock here, but this could be really interesting. What we're going to do now is we're going to let you hear once through a verse, pre, and chorus of Moriah's original demo. You're gonna hear it, and we're gonna put up the basic chart on the screen. Take a listen to the original demo, which was called Slower.
Why do I see the world through the eyes of a race? Oftentimes I'm behind right before my day started. The way I process life, it's so much slower than how the world seems to run. It takes a while to know if I'm even okay when my journey seems to have just begun. At 28, this life, it goes by quickly. So much expectation, how fast should I go? Do not worry about how slowly you're going. You get to rest. Don't compare how fast you're growing, and don't compare yourself. A slow life is rich as well.
Okay, hearing that, what are you feeling?
I mean, I have a lot of peace and like grace for myself.
So good.
Okay,
I'm so
yeah.
glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you're on the other side now, and you can
Yeah.
look back and you go,
yes,
well, it was definitely not done,
no, no.
but it was part of the process.
Yes, it's a part of the journey, and I think probably it's good to just debunk the idea that a song is just there.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Right.
As
Thank
I
you.
have learned.
Those of you that have taken the course know how this is.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? I want to just say something to those of you that are watching. What's so beautiful about what Moriah just said, because often the reaction may be to hearing early demos cringe or, oh, what was I thinking or whatever. But she, it was just so healthy what you said there about you have grace and you know this is part of the process. You know.
Yeah. I just see myself and that season stamped in and through it. So it's a very cathartic, necessary part of the process and is initially what needed to happen, right? Like it had to serve and soothe me first, and then we could flush out like how do we make this a little bit more translatable to
Yeah.
another, maybe just one listening ear.
So now what I want you to do is I'm going to show you just a little clip of our one-on-one consultation. It's a Zoom call, and you're going to hear me in that moment after I've heard the demo. And what happens when I do a one-on-one consultation is they send in the two demos and charts a couple of days before, and I listen to them over and over again, prepping for our meeting because I really want to enter inside the song and find out a little bit about who they are as a writer so that I can serve them, because my goal is that you sound like you.
Yeah.
Right? Because every song's unique and every writer's unique. And then we talk about it. And there's a couple of interesting things in this conversation. So just take a moment here and watch a couple of minutes of our discussion and our consultation of the draft Slower. This is a prosodic issue that confused me with this line. Through the eyes of a race. Okay? So what you've done is you've made your high point melodically which is good, but your lyrical high point doesn't match because you're focusing on the word of instead of eyes or race. And those things matter. Okay. This is this what I mean again, what you've got is a solid draft of a song that has room for improvement, and that's why we're doing these kinds of things, because what's going to happen is like the call I have, the song consultation I have after yours, it's so encouraging to me because I worked with her a month ago on a draft of a song, and she took my counsel and she went and back and worked it, and now I'm going to say, wow, what an incredible improvement. So that's all. So we're in part of the journey here, right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's all.
Through the
Yeah, I
eyes
understand.
of a
It's all good.
race. Um so what about, and I can't totally fill in this blank for you, but if you move the race to the beginning of the line, okay, why do I see the world da a race da 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 da? I mean, my other hint I would give you is think simile, think metaphor.
Yeah.
But because that's what you're saying, you're basically saying, like, is the existence in our world a race? Is that really what it is? Right? So, and I wrote a line there, and all of a sudden all the issues were gone, and I matched the high note was on a word that deserves a high note,
Okay.
right after race. Okay. Line 3, I really like this line. Oftentimes I'm behind, and part of it, reasons why I liked it is because of the inner rhyme. Well, it's a false rhyme, assonance. It's called oftentimes I'm behind, and it just had a kind of a winsomeness about it that I really liked. The next line I didn't as much because right before my days started, all I can say right now is that it's like I get the concept, but it's not really a lyrical phrase yet. Okay, pre-chorus. Your music of your pre-chorus as it exists is solid. It feels like a pre-chorus. I just liked it. I think it works well, and I think it would work really well after 4 lines of a verse. You do 4 lines of the verse, and then you do that 2-line pre-chorus. It's a very classic structure. Again, like, don't be afraid of classic, solid structure. What I keep on encouraging songwriters, because often songwriters that aren't published and haven't been done recordings and stuff, they often think that they want to make their uniqueness in their structure. And it's almost always problematic because the listener is thrown off balance. So I say, channel your creativity into a standard structure and show your uniqueness there. Now, your chorus, your music is so fantastic. I just loved it.
Oh, thanks.
It sounds, when I paired that music up, and I think your music in your verse and pre-chorus and chorus is totally solid and there if you only use the first 4 lines of your verse, 2 lines of your pre-chorus and your chorus. You've got a rock solid melody there. And the harmony is good. I've got a couple of bones I'm going to pick with your bridge melodically, but that verse, pre-chorus, and chorus is strong. It's stuck in my head. It's like it's like going round and round,
Yeah.
and I like it a lot, and I like it because it sounds like I don't know, it just sounds like you, like
How fast should I
this
go
release here over the four.
to not worry about how slowly you're going?
Oh, I love that.
You get to
And the resolve to the one.
rest.
You know, don't compare. Na, na, na. Oh, it's so good. So and I think you're close with the lyrics here. It's a great start.
Can I, like, just for context,
Yes.
I chose this song because it started like the topic was about feeling burnt out
Yeah. Yeah.
and energy.
Yeah.
And I realized I was like trying to hit two birds with one stone. So this, I've sliced and diced this a lot, and there is evidence of an old theme that
Yeah.
I know is still, like, you can pick it out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, I'm prepared to slice and dice this song even more,
Yeah.
just because I knew from the beginning, I'm like, this is
Yeah.
going to be the clay that
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
however it starts, it's not going to end at all in the same camp.
Yeah.
So
That's good. And the interesting thing is that because I don't know any of that backstory, I'm like any listener, I'm responding to what you present me. That's all I'm hearing.
yeah,
But it's
definitely.
interesting that hopefully then certain things I'm going to pick out, you go, oh, he's probably noticing that because that was from this draft or that was from over here. And he's noticing there's a bit of mismatchedness with a couple of things lyrically. Yeah, so that's good. Now I want you to think about something here, and because I think there's still some evidence in what you're presenting me in your drafts. There's some prosodic issues, and I want you to notice the difference because you're on certain lines, you're just nailing it, and it's so good, and other lines you're not, and I want you to hear the difference.
Okay.
So, like, for example, the prosody between line 1 and line 3 of this chorus section. Line 3 is bang on, and line 1 is a little awkward. So, in a moment, I'm going to ask Moriah a little bit how she felt about those one-on-one consultation sessions that you saw just some clips of. You know, one of the things that when I do these one-on-one consults, I do the prep work, and then I come to the session with my 3 guiding principles. And people that hang out and Unlocking Your Songs know these from memory. Is I share what moves me about the song. I share what confuses me, maybe, or areas where I think the song could be improved. And the third one's very important. I very clearly don't become an uninvited co-writer of the song, right? So my goal in this interaction is not to solve the issues, even that you're aware of, but help nudge you towards a solution by saying, have you considered this or you've considered this? But it's your job to write the lyrics, to write the melody, right? And that's really, really important to me. How tell me a little bit about how the one-on-one consultation experience was for you.
Probably one of the more unique things I've ever experienced to date. It's a very raw experience, like bringing your art to somebody in its infancy. It requires a bit of humility and a little bit of a thick skin, at least it did for me, just to be able to even hear feedback in the first place,
Right.
based off of my personality. It took me a couple times, like, I would replay the consultations that we had in order to, like, really understand where you were coming from. It was only after a couple of playbacks that I really was able to appreciate what you were saying, but why as well. And I noticed, like, I think the first thing that really stood out to me was just how much time and prep work you put in prior to even coming to the table. So thank you, by the way, for doing that.
I love doing it. Loved it.
I was blown away. And you had said many times, like, I went back to the piano, replayed this over and over. You were singing in your head this portion to try to flush out what you thought was working or why you thought certain things weren't working. So I think that's a key too for me as the novice, just to say for others, there's a reason behind what you said.
Well, that's encouraging to hear. I mean, it really is a deep passion of mine, and I really deeply want to help people write the songs that are uniquely theirs to write. You know, it's not me trying to write a song in that moment. I'm trying to draw alongside you and pull out what is that thing. And for me, I mean, I find there's work involved, obviously, but there's so much joy because I get to hear the journey and the evolution of a song as it progresses. And those of you that heard the finished product, you go, wow, like, well, there's steps to get there, right? Yes. And you got to walk that road. There's almost never shortcuts to that process.
Yeah.
Occasionally, as we talk about in the chorus, you get a gift song, you know, that kind of writes itself and it's done, and you know, but 99 times out of 100, you got to do the work.
Yes, yes.
You've got to do the work. Now, one of the things that was really I've thought interesting about the process from the draft, the slower draft, to then you came back for a second one-on-one consultation, and then to the final draft, was that the journey from you still keeping the song very specifically you, but becoming more universal by just those changes. Like, you know, your original draft of the chorus lyric was, you know, do not worry about how slow, you know, it's like, and I said, no, what about, you know, what if you take the diamond that's there, this don't compare yourself, which you did twice in the second half of the chorus. What if we bookend the chorus and you go, don't compare yourself at the beginning, don't compare yourself at the end. And all of a sudden, what was a specific issue about speed and slow and quick, even though that issue is still there in the song, you submerged it just ever so slightly. And by doing that, you have opened up the song to everybody.
Yeah. The message through lived experience is something that I feel very deeply and will stand by for the rest of my days. Like I if I could like speak that over everybody and just give that to them, that would be enough. That would be very satisfying. So
I believe this is a song that you could sing 30 years from now and still relate to it and still move people. Yes. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important for us to do the work of writing and rewriting and crafting and bouncing it off people and getting input. Because if a song works well, it will be with us for life.
Yes. And that's not to say the journey, the lived experience was challenging.
Yes.
The writing process was equally enjoyable and also took work.
Yes.
But if that didn't happen, that's, I think, a shame and a disservice. And just because something requires work or is challenging doesn't mean it's not worth it.
Yeah. Let's talk for a moment about the recording process. So now you've gone through the writing, the rewriting. We I think for that cohort, I chose 5 songs as like finalists of ones that we were all considering together, and then a group of the Unlocking leaders. We listened to all the demos, and we're trying to decide which song do we want to give this recording scholarship to, and then we chose your song. What did that feel like?
I was overwhelmed. It was a very overwhelming experience. The timing was very interesting. The day I found out was the next day I was moving. And so my life was changing very quickly. But I was very excited and very honored. Thank you for the opportunity.
It was our privilege. I mean, we love this song so much. It was you need to know how much of a gift it was to me as a songwriting kind of instructor to be able to walk this road with you, and then now to hear the finished product. Like I said, every single time I hear it, it moves me to tears. It's such a good song.
Thank you.
So what was it like to go into the recording studio with Philip Jantz,
Yes.
the producer?
Yes. Probably one of the highlights, like one of the peaks for sure. Yeah, I flew back beginning of March, and I got into a recording studio with Philip in Abbotsford, BC. I brought my mom with me. She is actually featured as a background vocalist.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she was my plus one that day. And that day, oddly, was one of the most peaceful days that I'd had in a while. So that was actually a dream come true. Something that I never thought I would be able to do in this season of my life ever.
Right.
So I was very, very grateful. Philip is amazing. He was a great coach, and he was able to help me kind of lay vocals relatively quickly and smoothly. And yeah, ultimately it was a very peaceful experience, and I was able to hear like a draft by the end of that session, and I went home and I was elated. I was just so excited.
Oh, so good. What I love about hearing your voice, I mean, I in the studio, is I heard all of that potential in the first demo. There's something warm and rich and low about your voice that is just you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know. And then when I hear that, I've had multiple people just when I play them this song, they go, "Who is that singing? I've never heard a voice quite like that before." You have it's like in your very first recorded song, you've got a signature style.
Oh.
Like, how did you do that?
How did I don't know.
You are just being yourself.
Yeah.
And because it's a song you wrote it for your voice.
True. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's what God gave me. So I've known for a while. I've had people mention that to me as a child, that my voice is unique. And I had someone say to me when I was in grade 7, "You're like Britney Spears. You just know, like, that's Britney, because there's no one else like her." And I'm like, okay.
Britney Spears.
I'm
well,
not, you know what I mean? Like, just like you can,
Right.
unique to themselves,
Right.
type of thing. But yeah, I'm very proud of the way that the vocals turned out, just because my goal and my hope was to kind of take it to a different zone and disarm people. The goal was to self-soothe originally, so now it's to soothe the listener.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about what are some of your aspirations as you think about what's to come for Moriah.
I would love to get this into as many ears as possible, to be honest, which was shocking, actually, because the journey felt very much solo. And then once it started kind of developing, and I started to realize that people were able to align with the message and like have it mean something to them, was honestly originally shocking. I was surprised by that, but then I realized, oh my gosh, like I would prefer it not to be my own. I don't want to be the sole focus. I would love to like give it as a gift to as many people as possible. Another goal would be just to like have another song finished to completion, to like get in the recording studio another time. So we'll see. But yeah.
So there's going to be more songs, but I also really believe that this song will have a way of finding its way to the people that need to hear it. And I think they're going to have similar responses that I had. You know, that feeling like you're not alone because somebody is singing the words. They're singing the words for you that you needed to hear, that you needed to say to your own soul. Don't compare yourself.
Yeah.
So thank you for putting into words what I and many others needed to hear and needed to have sung over us.
Wow, you're welcome.
Well, there you have it. I really hope that you can share Moriah's amazing song with as many people as you have connection with in your life. And if you know any other songwriters that are interested in going through that kind of process of taking in input and writing the songs that are uniquely theirs to write, please let them know about Unlocking Your Songs.